Sodom and Gomorrah, a warning of divine judgment. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is one of the most powerful examples of God's judgment in the Bible. Found in Genesis chapters 18 and 19, it recounts the fate of two cities steeped in extreme wickedness, violence, and sexual immorality. Despite God's mercy and patience, their unrepentant sinfulness led to their destruction. This story is not only a warning against moral decay, but also a reflection of God's justice and mercy. Abraham's intercession and Lot's rescue highlight God's willingness to save the righteous. The tale stands as a reminder that sin has consequences, but righteousness is always noticed by God. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah lived in open rebellion against God. Their cities were known for their lawlessness, pride, and sexual immorality. Violence, injustice, and cruelty were rampant, and their sins reached a level so grievous that it cried out to heaven. God decided to investigate, showing that His judgment is never hasty, but based on truth. The story teaches that unchecked sin affects entire communities. It also reveals that God is not indifferent to evil. The condition of Sodom and Gomorrah stands as a historical and spiritual symbol of how deeply sin can corrupt human society when left unaddressed. When Abraham learned of God's plan to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, he interceded with boldness and compassion. He pleaded with God to spare the cities if even 50. Then eventually just 10 righteous people could be found. God agreed, revealing His merciful character and willingness to save for the sake of a few. Abraham's dialogue with God shows the power of prayer and intercession, and how deeply God values righteousness. Though not enough righteous people were found, Abraham's plea shows that God listens to His servants. This moment reminds us that believers should pray for the lost and seek God's mercy. 2 angels, disguised as travelers, came to Sodom and were welcomed into Lot's home. He offered them shelter and protection, knowing the evil that lurked in the city. Soon, the men of Sodom surrounded Lot's house, demanding to harm the visitors, demonstrating the city's utter depravity. Lot refused and tried to protect them, and the angels revealed their true identity, striking the attackers with blindness. They warned Lot of the coming destruction and told him to gather his family and flee. This encounter emphasizes the urgency of obedience, the danger of lingering in sin, and God's grace in sending warnings before judgment. The destruction of the cities. As dawn broke, the angels led Lot, his wife, and daughters out of the city. Then the Lord rained down fire and sulfur from heaven, completely destroying Sodom, Gomorrah, and the surrounding region. The destruction was swift and total. Nothing remained. This terrifying event is a picture of divine justice executed upon unrepentant sin. The story serves as a solemn warning to individuals and nations about the consequences of turning away from God. It also affirms that God's judgments are just and purposeful. Though harsh, the event emphasizes God's intolerance of sin and the seriousness with which He views moral rebellion. Lot's escape and his wife's disobedience. Lot and his family were warned not to look back as they fled the city. However, Lot's wife, overcome by longing or disbelief, looked back and instantly became a pillar of salt. Her fate illustrates the danger of disobedience and attachment to a sinful past. This tragic moment reminds us that when God delivers us, we must not look back longingly at what He has called us to leave behind. Lot and his daughters escaped to safety, but the memory of Sodom's destruction would remain with them. Lot's wife became a symbol of divided loyalty, torn between the life she left and the salvation ahead.